Welcome back to Blueprint Bootcamp Tournament Edition. Today we're going to be talking about drawing number 7, the statue stand. So stay tuned. Alright, so this week on Blueprint Bootcamp Tournament Edition, we're going to be diving into the statue stand. It is a little wood part that you can make to put trophies on or whatever, and it is going to be using my favorite dimensions. So we're jumping into inches, pounds, and seconds. So if we jump on over to Onshape, we'll take a look at this print. As you can see here, it is drawing number 7, statue stand. It's a tier 2 model using red oak material in inches, pounds, and seconds. So I don't have to change my units today because I draw pretty much everything in inches. We'll jump up here. We need to figure out the mass of this part in x.xxx pounds with a tolerance of plus or minus 0.002 pounds. So not much room to play with there. Really tight tolerance, but it's a fairly simple, straightforward drawing. So we take a look. Most of our drawing is going to be done here in this kind of shape right here. Let me zoom out a little bit. There we go. We're going to draw a rectangle, and then everything, as you can see, has 2 lines of center line symmetry. So we need to draw a rectangle 9 by 14, round those corners on the outside to a 0.5 inch, half an inch radius in all 4 corners. Then we will jump in and do probably draw one of those legs and then pattern it around. That tabletop is 3/4 of an inch thick, 0.75, and those legs are going to be 2.75 from the bottom to the top. So if we do some simple math, it's going to be 2. Looking over at the so here, you can see that. So we'll go over 12. There's that 2.75, our outside to outside spacing. That's crucial. And then here, side to side, spaced 7 inches apart. So we'll go ahead and jump on in. Oh, last thing too, 1 inch over and 1 inch up. So I'm going to start, I think, by drawing that tabletop. Then I'll draw a leg, actually all in the same drawing, and then we'll go from there. So let's jump on over to Onshape, our part studio, and we will get started. All right, once we are in Onshape, first thing I said, we need to start a sketch. So we'll start on this top plane, Shift and S to start that sketch, N to normalize, and P to hide our planes. I'm going to do a center point rectangle right off of my origin, and that needs to be 14 inches wide by 9 inches tall. Next thing I'm going to do is do a rectangle, another center point rectangle over here for my feet, and those need to be 2 by 2, so 2 inches by 2 inches. I'm going to come in here with the dimension tool, click from there. That needs to be 1 inch over, and this needs to be 1 inch off there. So we'll go from there. And because everything is symmetrical, I can use my mirror tool. I'm going to click that line, and I'm going to mirror. Actually, before I do that, I'm going to round those corners. I'm going to add a fillet on these pieces here, because the more I add now, the less I have to do when I actually mirror them over. So those need to be rounded to 0.25, which is the default. Now we're going to mirror over that line like so. Shut off our mirror, turn our mirror back on. We'll select that middle line, and I'll mirror both of these over that way. And now we're perfectly spaced. And I know Toby is probably going to be mad at me for doing this. I like doing my fillets in the sketches instead of the end of the drawing. So I'm going to double click, do a 0.5 here, and we'll accept. Now if we look over, I need to do a extrusion of everything. but I want to go up with it 0.75 for my tabletop. We'll accept that. And then if I flip around to the bottom side, I can turn my sketch back on and pick just my legs. And we know we did the math earlier. Shift and E, 2. And let's say you didn't know the math. We could type that in and say 2.75 minus the thickness of 0.75. And that would give us our math. Now the problem is, as we're going through the top, we want to go down that way. So if we accept it and I were to measure, I could click from this face up to this face, and I get a total distance. You guys can't see that, my face is in the way, of 2.75, but that's going to work there. Next thing is to add our material, so assign material, because this is my done shape, and we're going to wait for my internet. Man, I need to upgrade. There we go. Library, we're going to pick our custom materials. We're going to do the red oak, say okay, pick my weight, and I have a dimension mass of 2.593 pounds, which is exactly what we need to be. With our tolerance of plus or minus 0.02, I could go all the way down to 2.591 or as high up as 2.595. So very, very cool little part. We are within tolerance. But a couple of things I wanted to show you is that sometimes in these drawings, and Toby's really good about doing this, he's giving you a lot of information that is necessary, but you can get from other things. So if we take a look at this drawing here, I told you guys earlier, we need to make sure these are outside to outside 12 inches. And we need to make sure that the short side, they go 7 inches. But if you just do an offset of 1 and 1 on these, and then you pattern them, that takes care of all of your measurements. So it's going to help out tremendously. And like same thing here, a radius of 0.25 in 16 places. Well, why draw it 16 times when you can do it once and copy it 4 times over? So very, very cool little part. You could have drawn, I know some people like drawing a quarter of it and then mirroring that and then mirroring the whole thing twice. Some people like drawing just half of it and then mirroring that over. But whatever's going to work for you, it's a pretty cool little project. Something 14, yeah, it's a little big to 3D print, but you could scale it down and make it look like a wood statue stand, or even just make it out of plastic if you want to store some like action figures or maybe some awards or whatever. You know, you do what you want with it. But it's a cool little project, again, from our high school heroes tournament we did last January. I guess 2 Januaries ago now that we're in February. But easy enough to kind of learn how to do some of these a little harder challenges. But you got to start basic. So start here, build up your skills, do it again and again, repetition, make yourself faster. Treat these, me and Toby have talked about this a bunch, treat these like a workout, right? You don't go to the gym one day and then get buff overnight. It takes time, dedication, and you got to keep going at it and getting better. So, couple of announcements and other things. I just wanted to thank everybody who came out to the Grand Field Day yesterday, or I guess you guys will be watching this on Monday. On Saturday, we had about 50 ag mechanics, 52, 54, something like that, ag mechanics students in the LeGrand High School shop. And you guys did a really awesome job. We had you guys doing surveying, plumbing, or not plumbing, surveying, electrical, woodworking, welding, and surveying, woodworking, electrical, and welding. Yeah. And you guys killed it. You guys did an awesome job. I know I threw you for a loop. I think next week I might draw up the triangle that I had you guys do. For those of you guys that couldn't make it, we used some 3D printed parts to make a hole jig on a triangular piece similar to like doing rafters, but I'm over the rafters. I feel like we've done them for so many times for so many years. I wanted to kind of shake things up and make something fun. So if you guys were at that contest on Saturday, leave me a comment down below. If you weren't and you want to start coming to our stuff, let me know. And if you're like, I have no idea what any of this is, leave me a comment and tell me that you've been drawing some stuff or whatever you might be doing, however you found this channel. It's cool to hear all the stories and see what you guys have been doing with Onshape. So that's going to do it for me. I will see you guys next week. Take care.